2024 was a year filled with drama, not just in entertainment, but also in politics and other categories. And today on Rise and Trending, we want to talk about why we shouldn't pay attention to the news in 2025. Or some would say a lot of propaganda is going on. Yeah, so this and more coming up on Rise and Trending. I'll see you soon. So, a lot happened in 2024, meaning that there was a lot of content, there was a lot happening on the news, and for some of us who love to go to the extreme of subscribing to this media or news outlet, we're so much busy looking at what's going on and the like. Talking of that, I've got some friends who subscribed to BBC and CNN and these other news outlets. So you would find that sometimes when you're with them, they receive a notification on their phone on what's going on around the world. They look at it, it will spark a conversation, which is good, but it will determine the level of mood they're going to have after that. And that to me is very funny. So in 2024, there was so much happening on the news, not just the Diddy story, not just the Trump story, but there were so many things that were going on that kept us glued to the news. Especially if you are on Twitter, you get to see what's going on in real time. So one of the most controversial stories of 2024 was the one for Sean Diddy Combs. In September 2024, he was arrested on federal sex trafficking charges following multiple allegations of sexual misconduct and abuse. So the charges include accusations of hosting drug-fueled orgies known as freak-offs and involvement in underage sexual abuse. This was a massive story on X, and then every single time, not just on X but on Instagram and these other social media platforms, you find that people who were glued talking about it, who want to know what's going on. This was a massive story. Aside from that, we have the Donald Trump assassination attempt that happened on July 13, 2024. So, former President Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt during a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. He sustained a minor injury to his upper right ear. The assailant, identified as Thomas Matthew Crooks, was shot and killed by the Secret Service. This was another story that kept the media going. The fact that there were a lot of secret agents in that same area, but the guy mysteriously found himself in a position where he could, try to shoot the president just there and then. And so much. This was a big story and people were talking about it. And in 2024, there was a massive story of a guy called Luigi who fatally shot the Brian Thompson, who was the United Healthcare's chief executive. He was shot in New York, and this was a massive story. We also have an issue of the Olympic. Apparently, the 2024 Olympics were marked by several controversies spanning organizational issues, athlete conduct, and also geopolitical tensions. There was so much going on this side as well, not just on the side of the games, but also on just the layout of the event, including what we were seeing on TV and apparently what the Olympics looked like they were trying to promote or to bring to the crowd. So much was happening in 2024, and there is more that I can bring about, but I just want to end here. So 2024 was filled with so much, like we have seen from the stories that I just gave out. And my problem with this much level of information is that, yeah, it is very exciting, but it is time consuming, especially when you go on streaming platforms like YouTube, where you find that somebody's gonna make a whole documentary of any of these people trying to explain what it is. And now, at the end of the day, all those hours that we are spending trying to know what's going on, because when you watch one video, you want to see what's going to happen next. And people, and some of these creators have got a part 2. Subscribe for part 2. Make sure you set the notification button for part 2 so that you don't miss it. To me, I feel like this has got so much negative impacts on someone. You don't just it doesn't just put you in that loop where you just want to consume this level or this much information, but you neglect yourself in such a way that you don't know, you have not consumed any information that is good for you. When you sit down and then make an evaluation maybe 6 months later and see, okay, have I read a book? Have I done something that has added any level of knowledge inside me? So here are my top 5 reasons why I feel like you shouldn't expose yourself to listening to the news a lot of times. Number 1, it negatively impacts your mental health. So that continuous exposure to listening to the news can elevate stress levels, leading to anxiety, trouble sleeping, and just a general sense of helplessness. And then the other thing is that the media can be biased. So meaning that news outlets may just prioritize sensational stories to attract viewership, which can skew perceptions and contribute to misinformation. Another one is information overload. So the 24-hour news cycle bombards individuals with a relentless stream of information. So it makes making it challenging to process events thoughtfully. Another one is physical health effects. So obsessive news consumption has been linked to physical health issues, including increased levels of stress and just other health related problems. The last one is desensitization. So that overexposure to negative news can lead to emotional numbness, reducing empathy and the ability to respond compassionately to real world issues. So guys, it's that particular point where we need to focus on ourselves now, focus on you. Read a book this year. Try to, if you want to start a business, focus on it. If you want to build a house, focus on that. If you want to work on your relationship, focus on that. Do something that actually matters, because apparently I've never heard anyone say listening to the news actually matters to me. Yeah, so you can listen to something exciting, educating, something that will keep you learning all the time, and consume in little bits this information that comes from the media outlets, trying to keep you on that loop all the time. Exactly. So this has been Rise and Trending. Thank you for listening.